Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffe Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. And it literally is my first cup of coffee, even though it is almost 9:30 in the morning. But that's in a very good way. Today is Thursday, June 9th. And I slept in. Great news. The book is finished. I did Tuesday and Wednesday, did the massive out loud proofreading as I had intended. And I was happy with the process. I was not happy with how long it took. I found out that I could go, I think my max in any hour long sprint was 32 pages I could get through. Slower ones, it was more like 25. I tended to go slow if I, A, started thinking too much about the story and wanting to noodle it, and B, started getting into the story and wanting to read it in a, I would start doing dramatic reading, start reading like I would at a public reading instead of just reading out loud. Because the whole point, and I did have one, of reading out loud is to make your eyes hit every word and punctuation points, so forth. Because when we read to ourselves, we tend to skim. We get very good at just absorbing. Oh, there's my mom. Hi, Mom. I kept my phone out here because we're sort of coordinating writer coffee still. We're meeting an hour later than usual. So that was another reason. Oh, my mom slept for over 10 hours. Yay. I'm telling her I'm doing the podcast. Okay. So I might have to move. The way I'm facing this. No, I think it'll be all right. I just have to position myself under the grape leaves. I'm kind of dappled today. I guess I should silence her. My phone does this weird thing that sometimes if I silence it, I can't get it to unsilence without restarting. I don't know what's up with that. So anyway, book came out at like 108,600 words. Transcript will hate that. I don't know why it can't do numbers. And which was about 398 pages in Word. And so, yeah, it took me about 16 hours to read all of that out loud and make fixes as I went. But I liked the process. I did catch a lot of things. I caught a few things story-wise, which is what I suspected, that I would catch both typos, or not both. I would catch typos, I would catch errors, I would catch story things to tweak or correct. And yeah, so it was good, but I would rather have like 4 days to do it. I could probably do it that way, do like like 4 1 hour stretches over 4 days. I can't find a good spot here. I'm gonna move. Maybe not, it won't let me pause. Oh well. Try one more time. No. Zencaster says no pausing. I picked this position, I must live with it. So, yeah, it was good, especially considering that I would have had to. The grapevine is really raining flowers too. Fortunately, they're tasty. They taste like grapes. They taste like very tart grapes. These teeny tiny little flowers. I'll show you guys for those of you on video. To bring it up to the camera. Can you see that little teeny tiny green flower? But sometimes it's a little bit like being under the I don't know, maybe like the peach blossoms or something, the snow of flower petals. There, I got it to pause and let me move a little bit. So, giving it to a proofreader would have taken 5 days. She needs it at least that long. So, I may keep doing it this way. Um, as long as I don't do this thing to myself of where I have to do it all in 2 days, because that really was a little much. And you could probably hear in my voice that I'm a little bit froggy. One thing I learned as I was doing this too was to say it very quietly. That I didn't need to project my reading voice, but that I could just do it like this. Because what was most important was making sure my eyes touched every word. So I finished, like, yesterday was a marathon day. I did, let's see here, I can tell you. So on Tuesday, I did 6 hours of work over about 9 hours. And then yesterday, I did 7 hours and 40 minutes over 10 hours and 15 minutes. And I didn't do my morning run. I started at 6. I got up at like 5 and got ready and went straight in and had my coffee. Didn't do my blog post, just did that. So so it was a lot. And I finished at like 4:20. Got the front and back matter sent to my assistant along with the corrected text. And then we went and got our booster shots. Our appointment was at 5. And we got there right at 5. So timing was good. Interestingly enough, when we got there, the nurse asked us if we were doing Moderna or Pfizer, the eternal question. And I said Moderna, and she said, "Is Moderna what you got before?" And I said, "Yeah, the previous 3 shots have all been Moderna." And she said, "Well, the CDC is now recommending that you consider switching up and doing Pfizer instead because they're finding that people get better immunity if they if they mix it up, if they, get Pfizer if you've had Moderna before." So I was like, "Oh, okay," because I thought the common wisdom was, or the data was, that we were supposed to get the same thing every time. So I heard her give the same spiel to somebody else sitting nearby, and the gal said, "Well, I asked a doctor friend of mine, and she said it's better to have uh, stick with the same one." And I was thinking, well, that certainly was the data before, but here this nurse has just given you new data. It's one thing that I know has been a problem with all of this is that people don't like that data changes. They don't like that findings end up being different over time. Um, but that's how science works, right? It's iterative. So the other thing that's interesting is my mom, when I mentioned we were going to go get our boosters, she called her doctor. She's in Arizona, and her doctor's office said, "Oh, you don't need to get another booster shot. It won't make any difference," which I thought was extraordinary statement for them to make. And I sent her the latest CDC guidance saying that they are really, really recommending that, especially if you're over 50, to get that, fourth shot, second booster. So she can get it, elsewhere. But I think it's very interesting that the doctors too are wanting to, like, pick a particular position and then hold to it. Our doctor did the same thing to us on the first booster shot. We asked about getting it, and he said, "Oh, you really don't need to." But then he got COVID and changed his tune. So I don't know, people. It doesn't hurt to get the next shot. Very interestingly, a personal data point, the Pfizer shot did not affect me like the Moderna shots did. All 3 Moderna shots definitely hit me hard. I got fever. I felt really wiped out the next day, hanging blue screen. So I'd planned to sleep in this morning anyway, just in case I got that. And then it's also not as sore, which I think is interesting. Uh, I was planning to just like let myself sleep to sleep off the vaccine and to sleep off the marathon of the past couple of days. So yeah, I woke up at like 6:30, but I lingered in bed reading until like 7, and then I puttered. I seriously puttered this morning, which I figure I deserve. So I'm taking it easy. I probably won't get this podcast uploaded till after Writer Coffee because I am running that far behind. So apologies for that. But at least you got one. I contemplated not doing it, but I knew my mother would have a fit. So, yeah, it's good to have that book done, have that series done. I really love my 4 epilogues, and I'm anxious for you all to read the book. Next up in my queue, I have the 3 Covenant of Thorns covers. We are going to send out a newsletter to reveal those covers, and I'm going to put those up for pre order. I have to write new back cover copy for them. So, one thing that happens when you get your rights back on a book, and these 3 I originally did with Carina Press, and they retain the rights to their stuff. I put that in air quotes. What they're like, the only thing that reverts to me is the interior of the book, is the actual story. The rest of it they lay claim to. And I've heard stories about some publishers trying to lay copyright to the editing, to the developmental edits and the copy edits and so forth, that you like can't use anything that they did, which just gets absolutely ridiculous after a certain point. It's like, really? You want me to take it back to like what? That first thing I sent you, like before the revise and resubmit? In my case, not going to happen. But they do retain all the elements of the cover. So she's like, you can't use the Carina Press trademark. And I'm like, no. She's like, yeah, that incredibly valuable Carina Press trademark. And I say that still loving the people at Carina Press. I mean, Angie James was awesome, Carrie Buckley, a bunch of other people who worked on the Carina Press stuff. But unfortunately, I don't know that the Carina Press brand ever did what we wanted it to do, what we hoped it would do. So I know that that's like standard business speak, but okay, I scooted once more. Uh, Standard business speak, but it just strikes me as funny. It's like, really, really, you guys, is this that valuable? So anyway, I have to get to write my own back cover coffee. Yeah, coffee, back cover coffee. That would be funny. Copy. And I don't know if I'm gonna. I keep thinking maybe I'll look at what it was before the Carina version, and then I think maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I sometimes I think that kind of thing can get in the way. It just gets in your head. Um, what would you do? I might write it and then see what they had, and see if I want to tweak, add anything in. Anyway, new covers are so cool and so much better than what the previous covers were. As I said, reveal will be in the newsletter. I might do a reveal in the private Facebook group too. So if you are not signed up for either of those places, that was a good time to do so. I'm also going to do that recipe for the low sugar blueberry pie as requested from Instagram. That's exciting. And yeah, there'll be a couple other goodies in the newsletter too. So if you do that thing. And it's in the show notes if you want the link for sign up to the newsletter, you can find it on my website. So yeah, I'm going to get the pre-order set up for all the Covenant of Thorns books, and those will release this summer. Do a staggered release on those, and then yeah, I'm gonna do that edit of the first book, Rogue's Pawn. I may try to do that tomorrow. Maybe it won't take me very long. And then next week I go on a writing retreat. So I'm not sure if I'll be doing a podcast from there or not. Um, there's pros and cons. It would be fun to maybe get some other people to be on the on the podcast from, uh, you know, that'll be there. I'm also not sure if everybody involved wants people to know that they're there. And that's something I have to check. I don't know if I'm supposed to be public about where I'm going and what I'm doing or not. So, frequently accused of not being discreet, here I am being so discreet. So, I plan to do that. Um, I would like to get at least Rogue's Pawn handled before I go there, because then next week I want to start working on the next Bonds of Magic book. And I agree with a few of you chimed in with thoughts. I think probably the next trilogy, which I think it's just going to be Judgment and Sully. Um, and I think I'm going to do all three books with them. It'll have a new series title, and I need to figure out what that is. There's no pre-order for it yet, but I will get that done soon. I'll have that pre-order up by July because that's when I can come up with the cover. So that's where I am with my cover artist. So that's all the news in my world. I feel remarkably good today, both vaccine wise and creative well wise. I'm glad that I get to do just businessy things today. But yeah. All right. I'm going to tick off here for the Great White North. Old joke. And I will, yeah, so I can get to write her coffee. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. You all take care. Bye bye.